Hello, welcome back to the channel of nonsense and the new Volkswagen Tiguan. Now, I personally think the Volkswagen Tiguan is like the car version of Hit Kids' TV show Bluey, because it hits the right notes for kids and adults alike. Historically, it's better than all of its rivals, and when a new one comes out, you're just praying they haven't messed it up. Even if they didn't move house in the sign, that was annoying. But anyway, I've been living with this for a week, using it as a family transport, and I'm going to tell you if it's any good or not. That's how a review works. Let's go and find out and see if it is like Bluey in that it makes me cry as well. Let's go. Unless you've been living under a rock a bit like Jesus at Easter, you'll know the Volkswagen Tiguan is Volkswagen's answer to things like the Kia Sportage and the Ford Kuga. It's a mid-sized do-it-all family SUV that's got room in the boot for big road trips and things like that. This new version costs from £34,000 for a Bogo basic one. Then you've got match trims, and then you've got the top spec R-Line Elegance. They're close to £40,000. This one is £41,000 with the 1.5 litre petrol engine. And the looks are all new compared to the old one. A lot of people have been saying it looks a bit more generic than the old Tiguan, which when it came out was really quite bold and striking. But hey, you get LED headlights on all models. This press car in Elegance trim has got LED matrix headlights. You've got an illuminated Volkswagen logo. You've got a light bar along here behind this bit of clear plastic, which does mist up when it gets wet. And being an Elegance model, you've got lots of chrome bits on it as well. This green paint is new as well. I think it's only available on the Tiguan, this new Tiguan. It's called Cypressino Green, or Cypressino Green. It's quite cool. It probably hides the dirt very well, and it's nice to have a car that is not black, grey, silver, or white. Let's look at the rest of it. Now, as the proctologist car reviewer once said, that's me, now let's look at its bum. It's quite a pretty looking thing from behind. It's 4.53 metres long, by the way. It's a little bit longer than before. But yeah, you've got these 3D effect headlights on mid-spec ones and upwards with IQ light written on them. It looks quite cool, I think. It's got this light bar across the back, which is what Volkswagen is doing these days. Weighs 1.6 tonnes, or 1.9 if you get the plug-in version. There is a plug-in version that can do about 60 miles on a charge, and it can fast charge at 40 kilowatts as well. That's quite a good plug-in option as far as these things go. The boot, it's 652 litres on paper, but that's if you slide the rear seats forwards. Normally it's probably more about 520 litres at a guess. The plug-in version loses the underboot floor storage, so it's only 490 litres, but hey, it's a really big space under there. It is really good. It's a good size, and you've got a flat load lip here. You've got levers so you can flip the rear seats down. Got a 12-volt socket there. You've got some cubby holes in the boot as well, so it's really well thought out for family living. It is one of the best boots on the market in this sort of segment of SUV. Now, you do get front and rear parking sensors and a reversing camera as standard on all models, and mid-spec match models upwards get self-parking. But the reversing camera on this particular car has what I think is a drop of water inside it. So when you put it in reverse, it's like it's got glaucoma or something. You can't see out the back, and it's been like that for a week. Not particularly reassuring. Right, as usual, I'm just going to show you the interior by holding the camera with my own hands rather than a tripod. But yeah, it looks really nice in here. It's got Volkswagen's, it's not even new anymore, is it? 13-inch infotainment screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I really like it to use. It's got customizable shortcut buttons along the top here, so you can quickly get to things like turning the speed limit bong off, because it will bong at you if you break the speed limit, because it's a 2024 car. You've got a big digital dashboard on all models. You can see I've been getting 33 mpg out of this one, which isn't good, but we'll come on to that in a bit. They've got proper buttons on the steering wheel now, so none of the haptic nonsense that we used to have in Volkswagen land. Felt-line door bins down there, and you probably can't see that, but there's some cows out there. It does feel quite nice in here. It feels quite posh. It says Tiguan there, and you can adjust the colours of the ambient lighting using this new knob, which probably isn't going to show up because it's covered in fingerprints. Hang on. There you go. It's still covered in fingerprints, but you can see it a bit more. So this is a multi-function knob, a bit like in the new Skoda Superb and the Kodiaq. You can press it in and use it to change your drive modes, or swipe across and use it to change the ambient lighting. It's quite cool, but I wish you could do some other stuff with it as well. In the Skodas, you can do more things with it and use it to control. The climate control for this car, you have to use these sliders of doom to adjust the temperature, and it clicks when you do it. You can probably turn it off, but it's quite annoying. But otherwise, the infotainment system is really quite good. I really do like it. Look at the glove box. It's a proper size, unlike you would get in a French car. You can get white seats, by the way, if you want to really just ruin them with your jeans. These Elegance models get white piping on them. They're very comfortable. They've got a basic massage function. But yeah, it's a comfortable car. What I would say though is the standard sound system is actually not that good, to be honest. It's a bit tinny. It's not very satisfying. And I've left the EQ flat. You could probably fix it with a bit of a bass boost. but there's probably an optional one, and I would go for it because this is not particularly good. Another thing while I'm sitting in the back that I've noticed, my other half has noticed, is this door here. If you're closing it from the outside, it nearly always takes 2 proper slams to get it to shut. So that isn't actually shut. That's shut. You have to give it some proper welly. Oh, and one other thing, while I'm in the back, because Tiguan is a portmanteau of tiger and iguana, you've got a little tiger in the window there. My 5-year-old spotted that. And I'm never going to get that in focus, but there's an iguana in that window. It's just cute. Volkswagen is having some fun. If you're looking for an SUV with decent backseat space, but you don't want a big 7-seater, I think this is one of the best bets at the moment. Look, I've got so much room. I am 6'3", that is my driving position. Thank you for asking, and I've got all that knee room. I've got decent foot room, though your feet slope upwards towards the sky once you push them all the way in there. Headroom is really good as well. And like the previous Tiguan, you can kind of recline the seats or have them Victor vertical or slightly more laid back, loosey. And they also go backwards and forwards as well, so you can give yourself more boot space. But I think unlike the previous Tiguan, if I put that all the way forwards, it's actually sort of okay because that is soft. I can sit here and yeah, have a tent in the boot or something like that. But you've got some pockets for phones and things there. You've got a felt line door bins in the back, which is really nice to see. You've got 2 USB-Cs, you've got some climate controls, and it doesn't feel claustrophobic. So yeah, well done Volkswagen. This is a really good backseat space for adults and children alike. I think that's almost the Haribo thing, isn't it? I'm not going to do it. And if I would, I'd do it in German. The original, the canonical German Haribo thing. Kinder unterwachsen. Anyway, now I've shown you Tony and Iggy. Let's take the Tiggy out onto the roads on this bank holiday Monday and find out if it's any good. I couldn't be bothered to finish that rhyme. It was getting a bit creepy. Let's just go. Right, let's go for a little drive in the Tiguan. This won't take too long because it's not that exciting to drive, but I'll tell you the important stuff. The gear selector is up here, like in the new Passat and the Skoda Superb, to give you more space down here. But anyway, this is the 1.5 petrol. You can also get this as a 2-litre diesel, which has the same 150 horsepower as this. And I'm going to make a bold recommendation here. That reversing camera is so annoying. Get the diesel because it's just going to be more efficient and suit this car a bit better. Yeah, the petrol might be better if you're doing lots of short trips around town, which a modern diesel won't like. But if you're hauling stuff, yeah, the diesel is just going to get you more MPG. I've been really struggling to get 35 out of this petrol, doing trips around town and stuff like that. The diesel will get 50, I would have thought, in my experience. And just be a bit more torquey, because when you put your foot down on this, it makes quite a lot of noise, doesn't go that fast, and the gearbox is also just a bit reluctant to shift down if you're in comfort mode. So I end up running this in sport mode, using this little thing down here. And then that puts the gearbox into 2 sportier modes, so then I have to flick this into D, and then it's a Tiguan that feels like it should have come out of factory like this. Now, you can get adaptive dampers on this car, and I would actually recommend them. It's called Dynamic Chassis Control. I think it's about £1,000, because a standard on Elegance models, and I guess R-Line models, you get slightly bigger alloy wheels than the rest of the range. And the ride really isn't that good in this. It's a bit pitter-pattery, to the extent that my other half has noticed on bumpy, crappy roads around here. It doesn't soak up bumps like I really think it should. So that's a bit of a shame. The Passat I had last week rode much better than this, and that was the R-Line with big wheels as well. It's just an SUV thing. It's got extra weight. It's actually genuinely a bit uncomfortable at times around here. But otherwise, it's an easy car to drive. The visibility out is all pretty good, even over the back shoulder. And as I said, you get a reversing camera, if it works, on all models. But yeah, it's a decent motorway cruiser. I've done some motorway miles in this, and it's pretty refined, not too much wind or tyre noise. But again, the Passat that I had last week, there's a mallard in the road. It's a lady mallard. Be on your way. Where was I? Yeah, the Passat was a better motorway cruiser because it's just a bit more aerodynamic than this. I'm going to go in the grass. And this exposes another weak point of this car. It has got the most paranoid automatic emergency braking I've ever used in a modern car. My old Touareg was pretty bad for this, that I had for 6 months. If you want to reverse this into something a bit like long grass, very slowly, like a lay-by like this, it will do a reverse emergency stop when you get anywhere near tall grass. And it's a bit annoying if you live in the countryside doing 3-point turns on country roads, because it gives you almost whiplash when it's doing it. So it's quite annoying, to be honest. But anyway, on a twisty country road, it's okay to drive. It doesn't lean too much, and it's certainly grippy enough to like send it into some corners at 60 miles an hour, and you'll come out the other side comfortably. You won't fear for your life. It doesn't feel roly-poly. So yeah, the steering is sharp, it's direct, but feels very Volkswagen in that respect. But I think the payoff for that is just, look, I'm all over the place. My moobs are doing the Macarena, and there's the speed limit warning telling me that I should probably slow down. Other good things though, the head-up display, which you get on certain models, is big, it's bright, and it doesn't completely disappear when you put polarized sunglasses on like it does in some models. And it shows you upcoming road signs and things like that, turns that are coming, your sat-nav directions, and all the rest of it. I do really quite like that. Yeah, on this Elegance one I've also got heated steering wheel, heated seats. It's nice. It's really nice. It's just not an exciting car to drive, but if you get in the market for a family SUV, you're probably not looking for something exciting, but you probably are looking for something a bit more comfortable than this. And I thought an Elegance model, it's not an R-Line, it should be comfortable, but it isn't really. Now naturally as well, being a modern car, it's got safety kit coming out of all of its orifices. So it's got lane keeping assist, which is quite aggressive, and it will try and keep you in your lane. The adaptive cruise control, that's standard on all models except the very entry-level one, I think, and you can upgrade it to have it basically drive for you. You've got to hold the steering wheel, but it will maintain speed and lane and everything else for you on a motorway or on a normal road for that matter. And yeah, it feels very reassuring and solid to drive. But I've probably waffled on enough about this car. Let's go back to the lay-by, where I'll sum up my thoughts in something I like to call the introduction. Oh no, conclusion. I'm going to KFC now and no one can stop me. Right, sum up, have I fallen in love with the new Volkswagen Tiguan? Well, I haven't fallen in love with it. It's not the sort of car you invite back to your house for a spag bowl and some romancing, but it's a decent family SUV just like it always has been. It feels posher inside than ever. It feels, well, more high-tech because it is more high-tech than ever. But there are some downsides. Well, it's not fun to drive, but also the ride is quite firm. And that 1.5 petrol is really not very efficient in this car, and the gearbox is a bit dim-witted. And I had that exact same engine in the Passat last week, and it was way better suited to that car than this one. I guess it's a size and aerodynamics type thing. But then we come on to the price as well. 34 grand is the entry price, but the one you really want is going to be about 37 or 38 grand. That's the starting price for the Passat, which gets a lot of kit as standard. I know it's an estate car, but it's roomier than this and actually better to drive than this and more efficient than this. So if you're going to a Volkswagen dealer with about 38 grand, do look at the Passat. Don't just think you have to get an SUV. But otherwise, it's a decent car. There are some slightly disappointing niggles with this particular example, such as that reversing camera, which just is a white mess when you're looking on the screen, and also the door that doesn't quite shut properly until you slam it. But otherwise, it's an okay thing. I'm a bit underwhelmed because I think I expect slightly better of Volkswagen at this stage, and the Kia Sportage is a really, really strong rival for this car now. So yeah, it's good. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. But there are some slightly better rivals out there, like the Sportage. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you deserve a medal shaped like one of these cows. No, they don't. I'm filming. They're having sex. But anyway, thank you for watching. I've been Tim. Go down to the comments once you've liked and subscribed and give me the German word for I can't see out of my bum. Goodbye.